written law, California law, United States federal law, NRC to enforce. By law, have to have somewhere to put the spent fuel rods. They promised us they would have the spent fuel rods taken care of by 1976, then by 1982, then by 1985, then 1991. It's 2013, you still store them on site.
Live, this is One for the Record. I'm Diana, and today is March 20th, 2013, and here are your news updates for today. Alrighty then, I'd first like to thank Israel Arizari. Thank you for the tip jar tip. Thank you so much. It's much appreciated. Moving on. Thank you. Alrighty then, let's go into the breakingnews.com. More World Health Organization visiting health facilities in Aleppo, providing technical support to Syria on the treatment of chemical toxins, spokesman tells. Also, report, U.S. government abandons plan to require graphic warning labels on cigarette packs. Also, wow. World Trade Center Path Station is closed due to falling ice from One World Trade. No reported injuries. Of course, this is out of New York, NBC New York. Heads up! Heads up, ice is falling off the Trade Center. You don't want to get hit by that. That's dangerous. Also, we had some weather warnings. Let me see if I can find them now. Okay. Or maybe they're off of here already. Here we go. Winter storm hits U.S. Northeast. That was yesterday. Heads up. Also, hail falling in Jackson, Mississippi. Heads up. Let's see what else we got going on here, if I can find anything else. Trying to go back a little bit. Okay. I think that's it for right now. There was some other winter warnings. I know a lot of people got hit by snow. I know people are digging themselves out in New Hampshire again. Heads up. No barbecues inside. Alrighty then, let's move on. The Extinction Protocol 2012 and beyond. See, one of my commentators said I should link the website links. I do so much news from all over the place. I'm just telling you where I'm getting it from. So just, if you can, just write it down or Google what I just said, like the Extinction Protocol 2012 and beyond. Because then it'll take forever just to get this uploaded. Planet reeling from spasm of quake. Seismic stress could be building towards an event. Heads up, remember the 188-day cycle is coming up April 4th. So, heads up on all that. Red line suffocating in the streets. Chemical weapons attack reported in Syria. Cyprus moves closer to financial collapse as bailout talks falter. Mudslides kill 16 in Brazilian town of Petrópolis. Heads up! Also, stop! Stop, dog! Stop, please! Someone must have walked by. Alright, let's see. Let's go to the watchers watching the world. Let's go down to that. We are going live, so I'm not going to stop. when weird things happen. You never know what's gonna happen. Alrighty then. Alright, heads up. Strong earthquake, magnitude 6.1 struck South Sandwich Islands on March 19th. Also, California shores witnessed mysterious mass strandings of sea lion pups. Okay, there's nothing else new on the extinction protocol, so we'll take that down. Moving on. Let's go into the E&E news, energy news. And we'll go into Fukushima, Japan. There we go. They just had a big dinner. I'm surprised. You just had a big dinner. Yes. Let me see. Let me get back here so you can see them. Because they're just sitting there. Let's see. Maybe you can see them. Let's go down a little bit. Where are you? Yeah, we'll go this way a little bit. There they are. They're so bright though. They're in the window. Alrighty then. Any news? Fukushima, Japan. You guys alright over there? You can always come here and say hello. Come on. Who wants to come and say hello real quick? Come here, Tit. Come here. Come here. Oh, you want to say hello, you jumper. There she is. There's that doggy in the window. Go on. Yes, thank you. Go on. Yeah, oh no. Now the cat wants to come over. Everybody wants to come over. Alrighty then. Alright, Fukushima, Japan. Crucial cooling systems restored, Crucial cooling systems restored, TEPCO says. Official. We don't believe Fukushima disaster is under control. New York Times. Impossible to independently assess condition of plant. It's not hard to look at all the past pictures and flyovers to see that it's pretty much destroyed and it's not stable. It's not in stable condition, not after all the reports. Alrighty then, fire them all. Fire them all, even the reporters. U.S. scientists find Fukushima cesium in turtles, whales, and fish. Heads up. Yesterday, power still not restored at Fukushima Unit 3 fuel pool and common fuel pool. No fresh cooling water for over a day. TEPCO. Extremely sorry it took so long to announce blackout. Of course not. Here we go. Here's also yesterday. Temperatures rise in Fukushima fuel pools after nearly 20 hours without power. Crews scrambling to fix problems. TEPCO placing highest priority on unit number 4. I'm sorry. You know what? Today's the 19th. I am so sorry, but in some places it's the 20th. It's March 19th. I am so sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Alrighty then. Because today is going to be a big day. I could start this all over, but I'm not going to do that. There will be errors once in a while. So it is March 20th. If you're going by UT time, and it's March 19th. Alright. If you're going by an Eastern Standard Time. Alright. Just in, U.S. Canada. We went into a Code 3 last week at Giant Sinkhole maximum state of alert. Wow. Also, today, government expert. Giant Sinkhole now covers 12 acres, continues to expand, growing parallel to... Come on now. Please. Please get down. Government expert. Giant Sinkhole now covers 12 acres, continues to expand, growing parallel to edge of salt dome. Also today, expert. Report shows California nuclear plant will progressively destroy itself. AP could break down at full power. Wow. Also today, newspaper, Giant Louisiana sinkhole now 10 acres, shallow tremors continue. Government, Jindal to arrive at 2 p.m. Central Time. Alrighty then. I am running a big thing today on UFOs. because I try to cover everything so no one's surprised. I am going to have my own footage on there that I filmed back in 2009. Whoa, there you go. Back in August. I think it was 2009, 2008. I think it's 2009. I got off work from I was working the deli back then at a major supermarket. Walked out, and there was a big giant blue light in the sky. Didn't notice that there was a second one off to the left. But it was lighting up the parking lot. Then it was just like out of one of those, like out of Independence Day. As I walk out, I'm looking at this big giant blue diamond in the sky, and it's like these helicopters, like military helicopters, came flying overhead. So I grabbed my Razr phone, which is the best phone I ever had for filming all kinds of crypto stuff. And I also left in a couple pictures from once when I was flying on a plane back in 2010 in July when I was coming home. Caught something above the clouds with an orb. And also some kind of weird interdimensional weirdness my cell phone picked up. I was taking a picture of a squirrel. But the best one is I've actually done it myself and filmed the most bizarre things. Some things I didn't have time to stop and take a picture because I had to get out of there. But, oh yes, Diana's Adventures. Everyone says I should write a book. But, a lot of adventures. But it's about 6 minutes long, and the second half is the best. Because that's when I zoom in on this thing that's in the sky. And it's blue, and it would dim out, and then it would just light up the whole parking lot, and people would stop and look up. Now I was still in my uniform. I was just filming it. And you could hear the sirens in the background, all kinds of weird stuff going on. And there was a fire in the area, but that's not where the helicopters went. They went around the UFO. So, and the helicopters were so small compared to this thing in the sky. And then not knowingly, there was a second one off to the left. I didn't even notice that because I was so focused on that one UFO that there was actually two. Right behind the store over the airport. You'll see it. Just stay tuned. After that, I got George NOORY on Coast to Coast. I got some film footage all over the place of the most recent, and one of the best ones, better than mine. This is so great. It's like in China, and they're running up a hill, and this UFO is there. This thing comes out of it. It looks like just like a movie. And weird, strange things on Mars. So we're gonna move into the crypto part of the news right after Gerald CELENTE. He's on Alex Jones. So I'm gonna run Gerald CELENTE. And then stay tuned. It's like a whole mishmash. So you know everything that's going on. Because I got your back. That way you know everything that's going on up to date. Alrighty then. I'm not playing the whole Coast to Coast. I'll do the second part tomorrow, which is on Nibiru. But it's been taking me a long time to upload all the way from last night to today. Alright. So take care. Be prepared for anything. We're in strange times. Also, I did capture what was making the sound. I think I found what was making those apocalyptic sounds, the horns, that no one knew where the sounds were coming from around the world. We might have it. Alright? I might have that footage for you of what did it. Take care. And if you see anything you need to do a little more investigating on, fine. Google whatever I said. Or play it back from the beginning of where I'm getting this from, and then go on there, and please always be prepared for anything. Be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow on the flip side. Oh yes, and it's 2 days down, 3 to go before the weekend. And I will do a shout out. We'll do a Wednesday Hump Day shout out, I believe, tomorrow. Take care.
And now where you see this acceleration going?
All right, first, very important, the trend tracking tip. I write about it all the time. They always do things on the weekends, so they freeze the people out. whether reporting on news that they're obligated to report on or pulling scams like this. So after the markets close, they always do the dirty deal, whether it's a downgrade of a country's creditworthiness, releasing information about a big lie that they were covering up and are obligated to tell it about. They always do it after the markets close, after it's too late. And this way it stabilizes the markets. It gives them time to rig it during the weekend so it doesn't go down as much as it should. So again, this came out on a weekend, froze everybody out, couldn't get their dough out, number one. Number two, what you said, the white shoe boy lingo. How about calling it a tax on deposits? Isn't that a nice word? How about stealing your damn money? So they call it white shoe boy language to make it seem softer. The other thing, another beautiful term, white shoe boy language, they're giving depositors a haircut. No, they're not. They're stealing their money. So now the other thing to watch out, because this is a big picture that's unfolding. Watch the prostitutes, listen to them, anybody could do it. It's all going to be put up in a little while. Go to CNBC, the flunkies for the money junkies. All they did was spend about 15 minutes talking about how Cyprus was a haven for money laundering for the Russian criminals.
So now the entire public deserves it because there's money laundering when the mega banks, the Federal Reserve, had
of the party, his first stop, she's first stop, his A-Z-I, X-I is she. His first stop was to go see Putin. This is really an attack on Russia. You're talking about money laundering? Hey, anybody hear of the Grand Cayman Islands, the big grand scheme? Did anybody ever hear of the HSBC money laundering scandal?
Ever heard of Switzerland? Ever heard of Luxembourg? Ever heard of Monte Carlo?
Exactly. So what did HSBC just pay? Almost $2 billion worth of fines in December for money laundering. So what they're doing is they're making this seem like a convoluted issue. The other important point, we're only talking about a $10 billion bailout here. This isn't a big one. It shows you the fragility of the entire system. The next important point, you're hearing now from the American Banking Association, from DC, don't worry about it, Americans. Your money's insured. Yeah, just like it's insured over there in Cyprus. As a member of the Eurozone, the money's supposed to be insured for 100,000 euros, about 125,000.
But it's not insured from them stealing it.
Exactly. But here's what I believe they're going to do. When the crisis starts spreading, what they're going to do, they're going to devalue the currencies. So they're going to say, yeah, don't worry, your money is insured. But guess what? It's only worth a fraction of what it is. There's a precedent for this.
And they'll do it during the holiday. Remember that little holiday dance?
That's right. We're going to send you the videos of me doing that. You should be receiving them momentarily. But here's the rub. When they did it in the United States in 1933, they called a bank holiday, and they did it by devaluing the currency, because in those days gold was pegged to the dollar, or the dollar was pegged to gold. The dollar was pegged to gold at about $20.65 an ounce, or thereabouts. After they stole all the people's gold and made them give it back on the penalty of law, they then repegged the price of $1 to gold to $35 an ounce, which means that you lost 70% of your purchasing power. So don't worry, your money's guaranteed, you're going to get it back, but guess what, Jack? It's going to be worth a fraction of what it was before. And that's why you're seeing now, as we speak, gold prices are again moving back up, and then all of a sudden, they're again saying, hey, gold is a safe haven. No kidding.
Amazing. And they've been using naked shorting to try to drive it down while you can pull it up. George Soros, institutions, the communist Chinese government have been snatching gold as fast as they can.
Right. And now we're looking also, when you're looking at the fragility of all this, yes, you know, the GDP, the banking to GDP is 8 times that in Cyprus. It's 8 times their GDP, which is very large, and it is a banking hub and they were trying to establish themselves like a Cayman Island, like an alternative to Switzerland. But remember, their GDP is only 0.2% of the entire Eurozone. This is chump change.
Well, here's my next point. Just like you said, they had to steal a few billion of people's money to prop up all of MF Global to show the fragility and didn't get in trouble. And you said this will only encourage them now to start stealing more. This is a small bite test. They want to see if it panics things too much, they'll back off and only take maybe 5%, 7% now they're talking about. Do you agree that's what this is a trial balloon?
I definitely agree with it. I definitely agree. You know, there are two things, two stories that should ring in everybody's mind that tell you what it's all about. One, not having to do with this, but it will have to do with it later as we get closer to war, is General Dwight D. Eisenhower warning the nation that the military-industrial complex was taking it over. A 5-star general, supreme commander of the Allied forces, and for all those Republicans out there, a 2-term Republican president. The other one is the story of Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, becoming violent and picking up a whip to drive the money changers out of the temple. This has been going on forever. These are money changers.
It's fraudsters. They were making people give them 10 silver coins for 1 silver coin that the rabbis would only take to pay for the offerings, and ripping everybody off. And by doing that, by making them pay to make an offering to God, by turning that into a blasphemy, they were able to take over that entire society, and he physically attacked them.
Exactly. So those two stories should stick in everyone's head. Hey, look, James Madison, anybody could Google it up. He called them money changers. Now they call them, again, they changed the name. They put white shoe boy language on it.
Andrew Jackson called them vipers.
Yeah, exactly. So nothing has changed. So when you go back to the meeting in Brussels over the weekend, oh, by the way, the people in Cyprus, like the people in Greece, like the people in Spain, like the people in Portugal, like the people in Ireland, they all deserve what they get. Because guess what? Just like the people in the United States, they voted to put these lying slime balls into office. They just had an election in Cyprus a couple of weeks ago. And this prime minister, the new president, he vowed that he would never do this. You listen to the finance chairman of the Cypriot government just a week ago saying that to steal the money, but of course they didn't use that language, from the depositors or tax the depositors was a stupid idea.
And by the way, remember, they've signed on to all the Euro, and we're giving $85 billion a month, and half of it to foreign banks as part of QE Infinity. Gerald, we just skipped this network break to have more time. What do you expect to happen as they go into overdrive, as currencies race to devalue each other, and more the inflation is upticking? Now, what are you calling to happen next?
This Eurozone issue is falling apart. Here's the big one going on in Italy. They still haven't formed a government. And you know, being Italian, I'm really proud of the Italians for this one in pushing forward Beppe Grillo's 5-star movement. And that's another little story, by the way.
That's right. Beppe Grillo said last week, I have the London Telegraph here just to back you up. He said, quote, the northern European countries are only holding on to us until the banks have recouped their investments in Italian sovereign bonds. Then they'll drop us like a hot potato. He went on to say that Mario Monti is nothing but a receivership arm for their planned bankruptcy. And he said,
Exactly.
yeah, go ahead.
And so, it's important for everyone, you know, because of the people that listen to your station and subscribe to our Trends Journal and follow our information. You know, there are people that want to do something to make the change. And it's very...
Oh, it's stalled out again. Hold on.
And it's very important. That's the model. We're going to be writing a lot about it in the April Trends Journal. It was a movement, not a protest. Protests come and they go. Movements stay. And this movement, so you're asking me what's going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to start seeing more movements taking place in Italy, in Spain, in Portugal. There's going to be revolutions. They're not able to hold this together. You mentioned the quantitative easing lines, the baloney. They only are keeping this together by dumping all of this money into the system. It's not working. It's only saving the too big to fails that, as we now heard from our Attorney General, Eric Himmler Holder, that these two banks are too big to prosecute, in essence. They cannot keep this together. It's going to unravel. When will it fall apart? I don't know. Because here's why I don't know. I know when it should happen, but it's like being a card counter. Going to Las Vegas, you're a great card counter, but you're losing every hand. And then you find out that they put another 30 cards in the deck.
That's right.
And that's what they're doing. They keep changing the deck.
That's right. We've reached into such an Alice in Wonderland that they said we left recession 5 years ago, and by every real estimate, by all the top private experts, and using old numbers, old ways to break things down, we're in a depression. But they just use mind control to say that we're not. And then they replace beef with horse meat. They put more air in the chip packages. They adulterate the fuel. They do everything they can to paper this over. But more and more, the paper is peeling away. But going back...
Bottom line.
So yeah, they use divisiveness all the time, whether it's between the people in the states or among the different nations. So fear and hysteria, hate and deception, that's what they do. And of course they're doing it.
It's elementary. Shut down the economy, transfer everybody onto food stamps, and then things go more bankrupt, take more money from the middle class, and pretty soon there's no middle class. I mean, it's so horrible.
Well, one of the reasons why you're not seeing this Great Depression that we're in, when you look at John Williams Shadow's stats, and they came out with the new employment numbers last month, 236,000 jobs or something like that created, but hardly anybody mentioned the 139 that dropped out. The only reason you don't see the bread lines is because of the food stamps.
Digital food lines, yeah.
Exactly. So if you didn't have those food stamps going on, then you would really see the horrors that are being created.
You'd have 50 million homeless people in bread lines.
47 million on food stamps, isn't it? Or almost 50 million.
It's almost 50 million now, yeah.
Now we're done. Dinosaur found on Mars, 2013. Stephen Hannard, ADGUK. Mm-hmm. 2013. This one is Mars Curiosity exclusive Real Martian Soldier Hieroglyph. And this is by Michael Witter. W-I-T-T-E-R, 2 words. His channel. Check this one out. There's a lot of artifacts.
There's a shape there. Looks like a lion type face with a paw out with what appears to be the base of an arrow in its hand or paw. See that? Looks amazing. Moving on. We've got, the shape looks familiar, looks almost like a rabbit there. See the head, the base, the statue, it's got a mouth, a nose, an eye. Why a rabbit? Well, if you look further over, you can see another rabbit type creature. Not finished, but there you go.
It's almost like a Rorschach big thing.
I don't think that's natural, it's artificial. And look there, you can actually see a deer head poking out of the ground. Remember, this is an ocean bed or a dry lake bed. And those rocks in
Pillars.
the centre are rectangular in shape.
Pillars.
They are carved, you can see the carvings on them. It's all been carved, symmetrical in shape.
They're all. You can tell if this is a picture from the rover. Curiosity, the Mars rover Curiosity. It's all artifacts, all kinds of weird stuff.
Look there, it's got a head. Looks to me like it's a puppy.
Yes,
And it was going to have 4 legs. That's a card rock at the side of it as well. Right, puppy. Well, oh, that's carved. You can see that. Oh, there's a puppy. There's no mistaking that.
Maybe.
I've got one similar to that in my house. Back over towards the centre of the picture. There you can see what looks to me to be a pair of child's shoes, or boots. What we've seen is amazing, but there's even more. Just moving down to the lower part of the picture, just there, and you'll see what appears to be a bone.
It's like a foot too.
Very similar
above
to
it.
a neck of femur, human bone. And at the back of it, you can see what appears to be a child's foot, fossilized child's foot. Just like the fossilized, petrified bodies that were found in Pompeii. This picture alone, I'd had seen nothing else about Mars would convince me of past life on Mars. And if this was on Earth, archaeologists would be falling over themselves to
Over here, what's that? Some kind of graffiti? Some kind of ancient alien graffiti right here? Somewhere in there, I saw it earlier. I don't know where it is now, but there's a hand, like a skeleton hand also. It's like buried and it's starting to come up from the ground. This is very strange. If this is a real picture, I guess it is. I don't know why they don't announce that to the world. I don't know. Let's continue.
Get working on the site. And now for the final bit.
Foot
The
right
exciting
there.
bit for me was finding this piece here. What you can see there is, I believe, the first Martian hieroglyph. You can see it outlined.
Hard to
Head,
see it.
helmet, body, and even a weapon, which is why I've called this the Martian soldier. Amazing. I think it's the first one.
Wow.
So,
See? Right there's that foot. Part of a foot. But somewhere under there I could see a hand. I'm surprised you didn't see it, but can't find it right now. Let's continue. I think he goes past it again.
from this one picture, we've seen quite a few things that are not natural, they're man-made. What we can see here is the Martian culture.
Wow. Okay, moving on. Here's those Mars pictures. Again, this is UFO VNI. Look at this thing. That was caught off of the... Some people want to verify this stuff. I don't know. This is from UFO VNI 2012. All one words channel. Look at that. It has 4 legs. He's showing you. Very strange. Curiosity. Found this picture. Found in Japan. Super luminous TV. They're saying because they have disclosure in Japan that they'll show you that. For all to see, it's on display. This thing was found in the woods. It's like they're thinking it's a Bigfoot. This is by Snowwalker Prime, all one word. That's his channel. Check this out. But he's drawing pictures on it, showing you what it could look like. But this thing looks more like the thing from Star Wars. You'll see.
It's bipedal and then walking quadrupedally. Alright, so we've enlarged it. It's a pixelated, fuzzy mess. So we're using the algorithms and the processing power that could generate a holographic universe to bring you this. What do you guys think? Think this is some kind of animal? A baby Bigfoot? Why is the ear 6 inches higher than the eye? Why is that? We saw that before. Are these some kind of mutant critters with the ears on top of their head? And this thing looks like somebody spun its face. Like, peeled the flesh back. I don't know, guys. Do you think maybe, possibly... Does it have anything to do with a Wookiee? Seems like Wookiees have a lot to do with Bigfoot lately. The whole Star Wars universe. So I superimposed it, took out the color, and then, you know, kind of boxed it in, followed the lines that were there, and it's a pretty close match. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think it's a leprechaun, troll, or maybe a Star Wars walker? That is the...
летающую тарелку и даже представителя иной цивилизации. Доказательства он представил нам по телефону. Сергей, добрый вечер. Скажите, это реальные фотографии?
Здравствуйте, Павел. В принципе, рассказывать особенно и нечего.
So that's from ADGUK News. All one word. We've seen a lot of his stuff. It's pretty good. Off of his channel.
Специально снимок я не делал. Работал.
This guy's saying, here it is again. Check this one out. There's actually an outpost on Mars. The Spirit Rover mystery. Let me fast forward this for you. There it is. It's right here. Look at this. What is that? And what is this? Look at this one too. Obviously, what's going on Mars? Wow. Come on, Max. Max, stop. It'll be okay. I think this one's the best footage I've seen yet. Check this out. It's from Stefan Hannard, ADGUK. It's another one from him. It says UFO lands in China with aviator. Check this out. Max is getting all bored or something in the background. Maybe this is scaring him or something. Here we go. Whoa. Check that out. It's the best footage I've seen yet. I like this one. This one is out of Jessen Carlos. His channel, 2 words, JESSEN CARLOS, 2 words. And says UFO Brazil 2012, 10/12/2012. Now, remember the sounds, the strange sounds that people would hear? The apocalyptic sounds, as they would say, all through 2012 and 2011? Well, this might be the thing that was making the sounds. Check this out. Heads up. Okay, we'll replay it again. What is this? Right there. Watch this thing go again. My goodness, maybe that was making all the... Maybe that's what was making the noise? I don't know. Here we go, I'll play it again. Weird. Very strange. Moving on. This one is UFO 2013 military recovering of alien body crashed. UFO sightings. Okay, let's check it out. And this guy's channel is Paranormal Camera. All one word. Here we go. This one is called UFO Filmed by Police Helicopter, California. The UFOlogy TV. Again. Because I think we already did them once. Here we go. The UFOlogy TV. All one word. Maybe not. Maybe that's a different one. Here we go.
Was spotted almost a year ago, an unidentified flying object in the skies over Southern California. And exactly what it was remains a mystery. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter has this exclusive video in this special report.
A mysterious object flying across the horizon, flaming debris falling into the night sky. As it races through the air, it suddenly disappears among the city lights. The Long Beach Police Department's air unit caught the strange 3-minute scene on tape with the helicopter's special heat-sensing camera. It happened last Christmas Eve, just before midnight. The crew didn't know if it was a spy plane, possible attack, or something else altogether.
For them, it's a concern when they see something up there that they can't identify, that they don't know what it is, they don't know where it's going, and they can't communicate with it.
No one from the PD's air unit wanted to talk on camera, but one officer says the object appeared to be about a quarter-mile away, flying at close to 800 feet. With Homeland Security a serious concern, the department says it sent a copy of the tape to the FBI and the military. So far, no answer, only that it is an unidentified flying object. Aliens and UFOs have long been part of the public's fascination. In 1942, these pictures of a reported flying saucer were snapped in the South Bay area. Known as the Battle of Los Angeles, the military supposedly fired 1,400 shots at the object. There are lots of things out there that can't be explained, but is this one of them?
One Long Beach PD pilot says he's seen this before. He says someone takes a plastic bag and fills it with lit tea light candles. The pilot says he's seen it go as high as 1,500 feet. As the helicopter moves in to take a closer look, the rotor wash pushes the makeshift balloon along the horizon.
I think it fits an aircraft. It could be a military aircraft coming back from a test that had to set down. That would explain the unusual heat signatures coming from the aircraft and why you see stuff dropping off the bottom.
Intelligence consultant Hal Kemper says it could be something like this special ops plane, which drops flares to try to divert surface-to-air missiles. Another possibility, a twin-engine plane losing fuel. There are plenty of theories about the unidentified object, but no clear answer. The one thing that is certain, someone out there knows exactly what it is. In Long Beach, Lee.
Well, I guess someone knows what it is, like they said. That's ABC Eyewitness News out of California. Looked like a mothership to me, dropping something off. Because it looked like it was going too fast. But who knows? Whatever it was, at least they reported on it, and then they tried to discredit it, of course. Because, you know, that's how it goes. Airplanes usually drive. You tell me, you look. You got all the helicopters lined up looking at it. Okay. Yeah, that's a plane that flashes red and white and then goes dark. It flashes and then it goes dark, right? Watch, it's going to go all the way dim and then all the helicopters are lined up with it, man. It's making like it's like a do. It's sending out all kinds of weird things and shooting stuff out. I don't think that's a plane. You can hear them? I could see like something fly out from it. It's not moving. That's cool. They always come up over airports. So look, and on the left there's all this blinking lights. Wow, that's beautiful. You should look at what I see in my camera. Yeah, the camera picks up more. Oh yeah, that's definitely like a plane, man. The sphere, some kind of sphere, and all the helicopters are lined up, flashing at it. Look, it's making all kinds of pretty colors. All right. Do you really think that's, if you get out and really look at it, you would see what I see? It's not a plane. What do you think it is? Well, I don't know. What do you think it is? I told you what I think it is. It's a UFO. No, it's not. Planes wouldn't be there like that, flashing different colors. So tell me what it is then. That's some kind of weird thing. I told you what I thought it was. I think it's a UFO. UFO. That's what I thought you were going to say. That's why I didn't want to... It is a... Well, look, you didn't want to hear it? It's on my camera. Maybe it's going to blow up or something. Get out of the way. It's going to go dim again. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep filming this. My camera will run out. You know what that is? That's a cop helicopter making a buzz. Is it? They're shining lights on... It's not. It would be a straight light. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be a light that comes down? It shot something out a second ago. Yeah, that's not a helicopter, man. I'm filming it. Hear everybody coming? Here, listen to all the fire engines. They're all scared now. They don't know what to do about this guy in the sky. No, it's not moving. It dimmed out for a while, and then it got gigantic. It was almost dim, like I thought it was Venus. Oh. No, it's freaking out. Whatever it is, it's freaking them out. You hear them going? See, look, now it's getting dim. Now it's put on a little show. Yeah, I gotta stop though. Okay, we gotta stop it. Oh, it's turning different color. It's pretty. Okay, we're gonna stop. I hope you're wrong. Look, he's right over it. He's right on top of it. Whoa, there they go. Are those the lights? He's going blue. I don't know. The other one flashing too. There's a bond sign. These are the street lights. What the hell is that? You're having a hard time. There he is. What the hell is that in the sky? He's having a good old time. And the other ones are flashing around him. Oh, it's a UFO. Look at it. It's a UFO. What are you doing? Yeah, that looks like a helicopter, don't it? That's right. Where are you going? Yeah, look at all the helicopters staring at him. He has like red lines going through. It looks like a UFO. It's round. They're all circling that mother. They're circling him. See them trying to signal this guy? See the helicopters? They don't know what to do. See the helicopters around them going, huh? Who are you? And what are you doing here? That's too bright. It's too bright. It's a disc. It's actually a disc, turning all kinds of colors. You see the other guys trying to flash at them. All the helicopters are around them. See, they're creeping up on them. See, they're trying to signal them. They're going, hey, who are you? All these are helicopters around them. See, they're trying to signal this guy. I think it's cool. I'm not going to keep filming them, though. I wonder if they're going to try to shoot him down. Alright, let's stop it. They're signaling at him. Bean on a door. I was having like a garage sale. Took a picture of the cute squirrel. Next thing you know, you could see an outline of some kind of interdimensional being. Very strange. Let me see if I can clear in on it. See, here's the interdimensional being. Here's like the head. Almost looks like a Mayan or Indian head, like a person's head. And it looks like the body of like some kind of, I don't know, like a reptilian. Has a tail right there. Very strange. If I put this to slideshow, see if we can put it to slideshow, then you can maybe see it a little bit better.
From the City of Angels off the Pacific Ocean, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be across the nation, around the world. I'm George NOORY, and welcome to Coast AM. Next hour, Planet X. Need I say anything more? And before I get going here with the program, I want to let you know that Dr. Robin Falkov, our coast-to-coast regular guest, was slated to have colon cancer surgery on Tuesday. That has been postponed. Robin has come down with a chest cold, and she and her doctors have decided to hold off on that operation for now. We'll keep you on top of that story. The surprise decision by Eurozone leaders to part fund a bailout of Cyprus by taxing bank deposits has sent shockwaves through financial markets on Monday, with shares in the bonds of struggling Eurozone governments simply tumbling. The bloc struck a deal on Saturday to hand Cyprus rescue loans worth about $13 billion, but defied warnings, including from the European Central Bank, and imposed a levy that would see those with cash in the island's banks get hit between 6.75 and 9.9% interest on their own money that they probably have already paid taxes on. Catherine Austin Fitz with us. Catherine, an unbelievable story. Could it happen here?
Well, there's three things. One of the things going on in Cyprus, George, Cyprus is an offshore tax haven and has big deposits from the Russians. So we're watching a little bit of the politics over Syria and Russia going on at the same time. But what is unusual is that the EU and the IMF are proposing a tax on bank deposits that is sure to scare offshore deposits throughout the EU, particularly in the countries that are troubled. So the risk of contagion is really real. And, of course, you have people asking here, can it happen? Now, the United States situation is very, very different. We have the world's reserve currency, but we have the power to print our own currency. Cyprus, by joining the EU, that's part of the problem. They don't have the same standing, and they've had special extraordinary expenses from very serious military explosion they had in 2011. So put that all aside. What is important to understand is that if we have a government system where you and I think we're safe because we have guarantees, and because we have guarantees and subsidy, we don't care that the whole thing is run cleanly and well, and that the fundamental economy is okay. That's a problem. And what we're seeing throughout the world is that I once had, in fact, it was a gentleman who became the lieutenant governor of New York, sit across from me at the jockey club, and he said, look, as long as I get government subsidies, what do I care if people have education and jobs? Well, we all need to care about whether people have education or jobs, because if the whole isn't healthy, then a government guarantee is just trading the deck chairs on the Titanic.
We're going to have to watch this. This is a major story, even though it's a little island.
This is a tiny island, but it is a huge, huge story with major international, implications, not just for the banking system globally and sort of the nature of government guarantees, but for the politics of the Middle East and Russia. We're talking about an offshore tax haven with major Russian deposits right off the Syrian shore.
Catherine, what's new with your website, Solari.com?
George, we just, every day I get up and I say, things just keep changing. We're in for a wild ride. So, the blog is an exciting time. This week we're doing a Solari report on how to do a Solari circle. Because I always tell people, don't worry about if there is a conspiracy. If you're not in one, you need to start one.
You got it. Thanks, Cap. Be in touch. Well, his name is Bo Jiang. He's a Chinese nationalist scientist employed by NASA, a contractor there, for work for the space agency's Langley Research Center. He's been arrested by the FBI at the Dulles airport as he tried to board a one-way flight to China. Why? It's alleged that the man had taken multiple NASA documents with him back to China on a trip in 2012, and who knows when. Gun enthusiasts are buying firearms with unparalleled rate. As a result, ammunition is now in very short supply nationwide. Even the big ammunition retailers are feeling the pinch. Walmart has the rationing of its ammo since January to 3 boxes per customer per day. And then the gun retailer like Cabela's, they get 2 or 3 shrink-wrap pallets. They're cleaned off like locusts, as they say, within a couple of hours. What's going on with all of this? Let's check in with John Lott, author of More Guns, Less Crime. People are panicking again, John. What are they doing?
Well, it depends what part of the country you live in, but you could have good reasons for panicking. Well, everybody's kind of looking what's happened nationally. I don't really think I don't think the odds are that they're going to pass anything at the federal level, but you see major changes occurring in different states. In Maryland, if you look at the cost of licensing and training, it may cost $400 to go and get a license to be able to own a handgun in your home. And, you know, you see taxes going on the purchases of guns in Colorado and Maine, Minnesota. It's all across the country. There's like 12 states where you could see it being significantly more costly for people to own guns after this year.
I remember a few years ago, John, that you would go to buy ammo and you'd have to wait in line. There was that shortage again of that fear factor that was out there. Is that fear factor back?
Well, I think so. I mean, it basically started in November 2008. And we got a big increase after this last election. In fact, you can kind of see it as the polls would show that the probability that Obama would win this last time would increase. You would see increases in gun sales. They tracked each other quite closely.
All right, John, thank you so much. By the way, just to put this into comparison, some time ago, to buy a box of 50 rounds for an assault rifle, the ammo cost you $12. It's up to $25 a box already. Double. Australian experts are concerned about the threat of a new type of drug-resistant pandemic flu that is circulating in the population at large. The swine flu strain has learned how to simply dodge the antiviral Tamiflu, and though rare, is emerging outside of hospitals now. The team who studied it say that the virus is fitter than other drug-resistant strains, and the world should be on alert for possible outbreaks. The deepest place in the ocean is teeming with microscopic life, according to a study. International team of scientists found that the very bottom of the Mariana Trench, which lies about 7 miles down in the Pacific Ocean, had high levels of microbial activity. The research is published in the journal Nature. What does this all mean? Well, they once thought it was too hostile an environment for life to exist. Sounds like what could be happening on other planets. Maybe Europa, one of the moons of Jupiter. Astronomers are already getting set for the arrival of Comet Ison, which may become one of the brightest comets ever to be seen when it cruises through the inner solar system this fall. NASA has brought together a small team of experts to organize an observing campaign for the comet, which could potentially shine as bright as the moon when it makes its closest pass by the sun in late November. That's going to be something to see. And in an explosive new book, Exo Vaticana, authors Thomas Horn and Chris Putnam offer compelling evidence that the Vatican is positioning itself as a religious authority in anticipation of the imminent disclosure by world governments of the existence of extraterrestrial life. In a moment, we will be talking with one of the co-authors, Chris Putnam, about this incredible possibility. Next on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back to Coast. Chris Putnam back with us here as we talk about this incredible story of the Vatican and possibly disclosure from governments. Chris, of course, best-selling author of the book, Petrus Romanus, The Final Pope. That's what we were talking with him about. They've got a blockbuster coming out called Exo Vaticana, and let's pull in Chris right now. Chris, how are you?
Hey, George, it's great to be back on the show with you.
Always a pleasure. So tell me about the possibility that we're going to, one, get disclosure, and two, the Vatican is preparing for it.
Well, George, I think it's, actually uncontroversial to state that the Vatican has positioned itself to be the religious authority given something like an alien disclosure event. They actually hosted an astrobiology conference in 2009, inviting the top secular scientists and the top people in the field to Rome to discuss these possibilities. In fact, if you recall, back in 2009, one of the principal keynote speakers was Dr. Chris Empey, a astrobiologist at the University of Arizona, and he actually said in his address that they expected to be making an announcement in a few short years. And of course, that was 2009.
Well, this is going to be exciting if and when it happens. Look, we know that the Vatican came out a couple of years ago with the obvious statement that the belief in extraterrestrial life doesn't negate your belief in God. I found that to be an incredible statement, Chris, and I was thinking then, hey, what do they know? What are they going to talk about? And then as you've highlighted with some of the work you've done, the Vatican owns, what, a couple observatories, don't they?
Absolutely. There's a smaller one in Rome, but my co-author and I, Tom Horn, actually toured their facility on Mount Graham in Arizona. Now, what we're talking about at the Mount Graham International Observatory Complex is a state-of-the-art facility. In fact, there's 3 telescopes up on top of Mount Graham. There's the Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope, and then just a few hundred yards from that is the sub-millimeter radio telescope, and then just, you know, in the triangulation from there, we have the large binocular telescope. Now, that happens to be the most powerful telescope in the world, bar none. You know, when it comes to telescope power, it's really the size of the mirror that gives it its light gathering and capabilities. Now, the large binocular telescope gets its name because it has 2 huge mirrors. Now, the technicians there told us that telescope actually gets sharper images than the Hubble Space Telescope.
That's amazing.
And that's because those 2 mirrors can actually correct for the lensing effects that the atmosphere makes. So they can actually look deeper into space than the Hubble and get really sharp images. And a primary mission of that facility is the search for exoplanets and extraterrestrial life.
Now, with this search, I mean, what are they looking for exactly? I mean, how can you determine with a large telescope that there could be life out there?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, you know, what they're really looking for are what they consider the signatures that would make life possible. So, you know, when they're talking about looking for exoplanets, they have what they call the habitable zone, or perhaps another term is the Goldilocks zone. And what that means is that the planet is a comparable distance from its star as the Earth is from the sun. So, you know, if it has a bigger star, it would have to be further away. If it has a smaller star, it would have to be closer. So a comparable distance. And what they're looking for in that range is that it would be at the right temperature where it could actually hold liquid water. Okay, if it's too far away, the water freezes. If it's too close, the water evaporates. Now, you know, this kind of is based on a worldview assumption that I would challenge. And that assumption is, you know, if you have the right conditions and liquid water, that life just sort of pops into an existence. And of course, I really seriously question that assumption, because I think that life is really something that God did. I think that there is a creator, and I think that, you know, the intelligent design hypothesis is really necessary for true life to come into being. I don't really accept the notion that it just happens by accident.
No, you're right about that. If disclosure comes, why is it the Vatican's job to do it?
You know, I don't know that it is, but I think they have positioned themselves to do that. I mean, I think they're really trying to get out ahead of the curve. You know, I think they really have a bad taste in their mouth for the reputation they got with the Galileo incident. And, you know, so they're really trying to get out ahead of the curve. And I think this really explains their interest in science. Now, of course, when you're talking about the Vatican and the Roman Catholic Church, you're talking about the longest running institution or bureaucracy in world history. I mean, I think arguably, you know, they are the longest existing institution. So, you know, I suspect that they have records and knowledge of things that we don't necessarily know about. And now there have been a few people who have tried to get a hold of, you know, concerning UFOs and their records. I think the attorney Daniel Sheehan actually, when he was working for the Carter administration, requested those documents from the Vatican Library and was rejected twice, according to what I've heard him say. So it seems to me that they do know something that we don't.
Well, that's very, very possible indeed. The entire area is fascinating. Tell us about your work, of course, Exo Vaticana.
Well, you know, the thesis of our book, now Tom Horn and myself are evangelical Christians, and, you know, we...
And what is that? There's somebody who might not understand.
Well, you know, we're believers in the New Testament. I mean, we're Protestants, we're not Catholics, but, you know, we believe that Jesus Christ is God incarnate, and he came and died for the sins of the world. Now, the thesis of our book, you know, we tend to believe also that we are near his return. So the biblical prophecies talk about Jesus is going to return, and the book of Revelation really speaks a lot about the judgments that happen up to that time. Now, Jesus also predicted an unparalleled deception just prior to his return. Now, he said things like, you know, if those days had not been shortened, even the elect would be deceived. So we're expecting something to happen that's going to lead the world into a delusion. The Apostle Paul talked about a strong delusion that would lead the world to believe a lie. Our thesis is that for the world as it exists today to really buy into something that would be a demonic deception, it would really have to be clothed in the credibility of science.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the alien savior mythos has really been built up and promoted in our culture since the late 40s. There really is a really strong expectation of an alien savior. And even Carl Jung wrote about this. And, you know, that as the Christian consensus in the world started to fade away with the rise of rationalism and Enlightenment thinking and, you know, the scientific worldview, a lot of people kind of lost their faith in the supernatural. They lost their faith in the biblical story. And so they began to adopt a worldview that had advanced extraterrestrials coming to save humanity. Now, you know, in the late 40s, there was the fear of a nuclear holocaust, you know, and this, of course, grew, you know, through the Cold War with Russia, and, you know, those fears are still there. Now, I'm sure you're aware, and most of your listeners are, that, you know, there seems to be evidence that UFOs are interested in our nuclear facility. And you know, some authors have covered, you know, in great depth how they have even perhaps shut down some of those facilities at times. So I think this is the sort of mythos that we're looking at, where perhaps, you know, that they're going to save us from ourselves.
The Hopis, you've talked a little bit about them, their blue star. What's the tie-in with the Vatican, if any?
Well, I think it's the same sort of thing, that there's a kind of a mythology that there are these sky beings that are going to come and reappear on the earth to save humanity. And the thing that I'm looking at with the Vatican is that, you know, I don't necessarily think that they believe in UFOs per se in the same way that the ufologists believe it, but the sort of theology and the sort of things that they're writing and the constructs that they're developing are really undergirding something that, if it shows up, I mean, they already have the theology written. I mean, they've written things like, I'm talking high-level theologians from Notre Dame have written things like, well, you know, if there are alien beings, then chances are that they're more evolved than us, and they'll be evangelizing us. And we need to reread our theology in light of their revelation.
All right, Chris, stay with us. We're going to come back, talk much more about your work. Really, truly an incredible story where they claim the Vatican is preparing for official disclosure when the world tells us about advanced extraterrestrial intelligence. I'm George Noory, back in a moment on Coast to Coast. Stay in. And welcome back to Coast to Coast. We'll take your phone calls with Chris Putnam as we talk about his new work, of course, that is coming out. Chris, it's coming out on Tuesday, isn't it?
That's right. It's supposed to start shipping tomorrow.
That's exciting. I want you to theorize for a moment how the announcement will come about, if it comes about.
Well, George, one hypothesis that we've put forth in the book, now, it doesn't have to happen this way, but there seems to be some evidence that suggests that large ships, I'm talking flying saucers, something maybe in the order of the Phoenix craft that was described as a mile-wide craft, could simultaneously manifest over Washington, D.C., Rome, and Jerusalem. Now, we've found some evidence in history that sort of points us in that direction, and we unpack that in the book.
Well, if that happens, how do you think the world will react to it?
George, I think it will be astounding, of course. But I suspect that we will not see something along the lines of what happened, with the world thing with H.G. Wells that happened in the early 20th century where everyone panicked. And the reason I say that, I think that we've been prepared. I think that, there's been a constant stream of science fiction and, just movies and articles and we've had all the ancient aliens material on television. I think that there's been a concerted effort to prepare the world for disclosure, and I think that it's been intentional.
The Pope stepping down, the new Pope stepping in, do you think it had anything to do with this?
Well, we do think that all these things are connected. The worldview that Tom Horn and myself hold doesn't leave a lot of room for coincidence and accident, and we think that there is a spiritual control system on the earth, and all these things are interrelated. Our first book was about the prophecy of the popes, and if that prophecy holds true, then this would be the final pope. One of the things that I think is the most compelling about Pope Francis, now of course it remains to be seen how this is all going to play out, but he's the first Jesuit pope. And, I think that a lot of people haven't fully come to understand what that entails. But these astronomers at the Vatican that I kind of go back and forth with somewhat in the book, the Vatican Observatory Research Group. Now, this is made up of Jesuits. And these are all guys, with, you've talked to Father Guy. Yeah, we go back and forth with him some, and some of the things that they put forth. And, so here our new Pope is the first Jesuit Pope. Now, I think that that's highly significant. One of the things that not many people in the media have been talking about, but if you recall, Father Malachi Martin wrote his first big book was called The Jesuits. In that book, it really begins. I'll have it right in front of me. I'll just read a sentence.
Okay, sure. And they're very scientifically minded people.
Yes, they are. Now, Malachi Martin said a state of war exists between the papacy and the religious order of the Jesuits. The Society of Jesus, to give its order its official name, that war signals the most lethal change to take place within the ranks of professional Roman clergy over the last 1,000 years. That's what Malachi Martin wrote in his first expose. Now, if that's true, and there was a war between the Jesuits and the papacy, what does the first Jesuit pope signify? That tells me the Jesuits won.
Well, exactly. All right, let's take some calls for you. Kevin is on Ontario, Canada. Welcome to the program, Kevin. Go ahead.
Hello, George. It's been a long time. Yes, I'd like to ask about if this, in fact, does happen, Mr. Putnam. Have you guys considered the possibility of some sort of the Project Bluebeam plan, that this may, in fact, be a huge hoax by those that would wish a world government?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting idea. And, that might, in fact, be a component in it. Now, what I argue in the book is actually, there's a post on my website right now that explains this in some detail, and it's linked at the show notes. But Jacques Vallée's take on the UFO phenomenon is that he really thinks that it's a control system meant to steer the worldviews and the public consciousness, basically the beliefs and, the grid that we view reality through. And he really unpacks that in several of his books, but the first one that, he really started, in the book Dimensions, he explains it really well. But he thinks that UFOs are really meant to steer culture. And, interestingly, I kind of take that into the supernatural realm. I believe that there are fallen angelic entities that are managing that system. Now, could they be working through human confederates? Could they be working through, the people that have designs on controlling a one-world government? They very possibly could, and that might be a technological manifestation of the way they're doing that. So, those ideas could actually work together.
Next up, we go to a first-time caller, Ben in Bangor, Maine. Hey, Ben, go ahead.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I was just wondering, what do you think about like a modern version of the Epiphany story?
Explain a little more.
Well, three kings and a town and star overhead.
All right, how does that tie into that?
Well, you think of the three kingdoms would be Israel and Iraq and Afghanistan.
All right, what do you think of that tie-in, Chris?
I'm not exactly sure where he's going with that, but he's talking about heralding...
Kind of metaphorical.
The arrival of the Messiah?
Yeah.
Well, I think that what we're expecting, our trajectory with the UFOs and the alien disclosures, that we think that this is really going to be, a false Messiah, what the Bible predicts as the Antichrist, which meaning instead of Christ. So we really think that there's going to be a diabolic ruse that leads the world to worship a false god. And it's going to be in the guise of an extraterrestrial.
Chris, are you saying that the announcement is going to be legitimate, that we're being visited, or a hoax to trick us?
Well, my trajectory, my thesis is that, it's not necessarily a hoax, but, that it is a false Messiah. I don't necessarily buy that it's going to be an alien from another world. I really think that we're probably looking at some sort of fallen angel type entity that will come in the guise of a benevolent extraterrestrial here to solve all our problems. I think this is the sort of thing that Jesus Christ warned us about. And that's why, I hold that view. He predicted an unparalleled deception. And, it says that this Antichrist figure will proclaim himself to be God. Now, when I look around at our culture and how skeptical people are and how scientific we are, it's really hard for me to believe that the world's going to buy into that as some kind of supernatural claim to be God. But someone who claims to be an alien from another world with a superior technology that can solve all our problems, I think that has a lot more explanatory scope for why the world would buy into something like that.
Well, I think you're right there. Okay, next up east, Jimmy in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hey, Jim, you're on with Chris Putnam on Coast to Coast.
George, I got an eerie feeling whenever I heard the guest talk about these giant ships, because I've had a friend of mine who told me about a very vivid dream where he woke up at 3 in the morning in a cold sweat, and he remembered seeing these giant ships over the cities on the TV, and he was trying to call me. And I myself have had a sighting right here, sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
In western Pennsylvania. So I'm a little bit...
You think it could happen?
Goosebumps, George. It could happen.
Well, now,
I've seen some...
Remember the movie Independence Day? It was like that.
Yeah, it was almost like that movie with the, pre-programming for everyone.
What did you think of that movie, Chris, and its tie into the possibility of this reality?
Well, George, one of the things that I found the most astounding after all my research into UFOs, reading all the latest books, Leslie Kean's book, Richard Dolan's book, is that things like that have happened. And most of the world is ignorant to it. What happened in Phoenix, Arizona? We have Governor Fife Symington giving his testimony